All right, in this unit, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we describe color, how we talk about color. And you can say a color to somebody, and we will all imagine a different color. But we still need some way that we can discuss it, at least in general terms. And one way, or the first way of describing a color, is by its hue. And by definition, a hue is the general name or the family of the color: red, green, blue, or pink, lavender, amber, yellow. It's the general color that exists in the color wheel, right? Sometimes we also describe hues as being warm or cool or hot and cold, right? And how that exists, where those colors exist on the color wheel. Now, saturation is another is the second descriptor of a color, and saturation is how close the color is to white. As we move into the center of a color sphere, we move towards where all of the light is converging together to create a white light. And as we approach the center, colors get more subtle. They're described as a pastel or a tint or desaturated. As we move to the outside edges of our color sphere, colors become more bold or deep or saturated. So let's look at a few samples, right? So which color would you describe as warm and which is cool? Well, I will say that many of you might describe this deep pink or magenta as a warm tone, and the blue would be the cool tone. These colors are fairly saturated. They are deep. They live to the outside of the color wheel, right? Same question here. I would say that most of us would describe this amber color as a warm tone and this light blue as a cool tone, and that these two colors are desaturated. They are more of a tint. They are less dark than the previous example that I showed you. Now let's look at some fun colors here. A magic color. Which would you describe as warm and which is cool? And I will say that I will predict that many of you would describe this red tone, right, or this red color to be the warm, and the this purpley lavender magenta color, not magenta, purple lavender, to be the cool, right? These are also, I would describe as a saturate color, right? So now which one is warm and which is cool? And I would venture to say many of you would say that the blue is the cool tone and the purple is the warm tone. That changed. This is the same purple magenta, or the same purple lavender color that I showed in both examples. And when this lavender or purple color is used against a red tone, it's described as cool. But when it's used against a cool tone, it's described as warm. Lavender has the ability to change between warm and cool depending on the adjacent colors. Even if we look at it in a more desaturated version, this light pink against the lavender feels cool, but the lavender feels warm when placed against a light blue, right? So lavender has this magical ability to shift between warm and cool, and this can be a very, very useful tool when we're working with light in the theater.